Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, that belongs to the head apostles and elders. Shalom to the house of David, the hopeful elect scattered abroad. And I'm just going to bring out this article real quick that I came across from RT. It says NYC tenant groups plan 1 million strong rent strike as end of eviction moratorium looms with no amnesty in sight. All right. And that word amnesty, wanted to see the definition of that, edification. Amnesty means the act of an authority by which pardon is granted to a large group of individuals. Yeah, because right now you got different states that are like pretty much giving a pardon on paying rent amid the COVID-19 so-called pandemic. All right, so I'm a breeze through this article real quick and just bring out a scripture or two, and Lord willing, it's edifying. It says, and this was published today on April 27th, 2020, which is Monday, year of prophecy. It says, New York City tenant groups have joined a growing movement for a statewide rent strike as the continued coronavirus shutdown makes working and paying impossible. The state's evict moratorium expires in June. The majority of tenants in the Cosmopolitan Houses Wood Complex in Woodside, Queens have joined a rent strike that hopes to enlist upwards of 1 million New Yorkers, set to begin May 1st. Organizers told the Wall Street Journal on Monday. Strikers have pointed to the impossibility of making the steep monthly payments as the economy remains in suspended animation due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Queens tenant group is part of a growing movement aimed at convincing a sizable chunk of New York renters to withhold their payments next month in the hope of forcing, let's skip that. Strikers in New York are expected to be joined by groups in Philadelphia, Chicago, multiple California cities, and elsewhere across the U.S. It says, led by the Upstate Downstate Housing Alliance, the New York rent strike movement has brought together an impressive coalition of tenants' rights and labor groups to petition for a total suspension of all payments for the duration of Governor Andrew Cuomo's New York pause order, which has brought the state's normally bustling economy to a standstill and thrown millions into unemployment. Skip down a little bit. While New York has adopted a 3-month moratorium on evictions, the freeze is scheduled to end in late June and does not forgive renters mounting debts. Housing advocates are worried all hell will break loose. Call out Yabashim Yahushai when housing courts reopen and renters suddenly owe 3 months worth of payments. Man, that's big. So they basically putting a pause on your payments, but you still owe them. And New York is already known for having stupid expensive rent, man. So they right, man. This could lead to all hell breaking loose, man. Couple that with the food crisis or food shortages, the tensions, just everything, man. Some 39% of New Yorkers were already living paycheck to paycheck in March, according to Property Nest. And in the video I was just watching, the brother out there in Vegas just brought out an article, how other nations are pretty much, pitying America. They seeing, that America is not what it cracked up to be. They seeing the weakness in America's economy. They seeing how divided America is, right? So, yeah, man. Read that again. It says some 39% of New Yorkers were already living paycheck to paycheck. That's another point he brought out, how it's being shown how that people are not living as large as they portray to be. Pretty much majority of the country is living fucking paycheck to paycheck. You see? So where we at? With the state's unemployment benefits website MIA for the first 3 weeks of the shutdown before rumbling back to life earlier this month, even those who were able to afford their rent for April may be looking at a lean May, especially given the city's notoriously high cost of living. Like I just said through the spirit. Just 55.7% of New Yorkers surveyed by Property Nest expected to be able to pay their rent as usual come May 1st, though a sizable percentage more plan to borrow the money, pay late, or work out other agreements with the landlords, man. Hey, man, this bubble is about to pop, man. And this is the last paragraph. Let me see if there's anything in here. Even before the coronavirus pandemic made New York its epicenter, striking down upwards of 17,000 people in New York City alone, both city and state were rapidly losing residents to economic factors. People have been fleeing the state due to its high cost of living for years, with their cheap financial fear reported as living in debt forever. That's right. Scrolling down, when the smoke clears, the eviction moratorium lifts, and landlords find themselves facing the possibilities of trying to pay their own mortgages with thousands of vacant units. They may wish they'd been more patient with their struggling tenants. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 14. It says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they are come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again." And those plagues, those everything from the pestilence to the famines, to the racial tensions, to the sorrows, the mournings. These things have been sent. Everything, we're in the beginning stages of all these things. As it says here in verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginnings of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? We're going to lean on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, because that's all we can do. And scrolling down to verse 37, it says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of birth pains, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." See, and these are those sorrows coming on every side, man. You got issues with shortages on cleaning supply, shortages on food increasing. You got now another issue that people are going to be plagued with, is rent, man. Back paying rent. People done lost jobs. Small businesses are closing and won't be able to reopen. America is bleeding, man. This woman, the great whore. The virgin daughter, man, she's bleeding, man. She's definitely hit right now, and she's leaking. This is Jeremiah 51, verse 7. "Behold, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so, she may be healed." Verse 9, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto the heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies." So yeah, man, it ain't no healing Babylon. It ain't no, restoring the economy, everything going back to per usual, a great American pride rising again, and, unity, a nation, everyone, being in the American spirit. Things are changing, and, as these players continue to hit, things are not going to be what they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So, Lord willing, that was edifying, man. Just something I wanted to bring out through the spirit, man. Till next time, I say shalom.